Okay, so access multidimensional array with indexes. So I have to access multidimensional array with indexes. Okay, use bracket notation. Select an element from my array such that my data is equal 8. My data is equal 8. So I have to choose this one. So for choosing this one, there is some things like, okay, so let's look at this example. So in subarray array3, so array3 gives the value, array3 gives the value this one, 0 1 2 3, this one full. So this is the value, and 3 0 3 0 0 1 2 0. So 0 gives this value, 3 0 1, 3 0 is this one, and 1 is gives this value. So I have to choose 8. So 0 1 2. So I have to choose 2, and I have to choose like 0 1 1. So that's it. Manipulate arrays with push method. Manipulate arrays with push method. So here in this example, array 1 2 3 push 4 5. So array 1 has 1 2 3 4 5. এখানে যদি push করি, so Stimson, J, cat, happy, joy. So happy and joy, push. So এখানে আমি একটা array push করছি. Okay, so I push top 3 and this one 3 onto my array. So just have to write my array to push করব. So my array that push and just have to paste it. That's it. Okay. Pop is used we can use the last element. Okay, pop removes the last element from an array, returns that element. Pop removes the last element from an array and returns that element. Pop removes the last element from an array and returns that element. Pop removes the last element from an array and returns that element. So in this example, 3r 1 4 6 1 down, 3r dot pop console log 1 down, console log 1 down. So 1 down, 3r take a pop. So removes the last element, 6 will be removed. So log will display value 6. Okay, the second will display value 1 4. So 1 down here in this variable, 1 down is equals to 6 because 3 array pop, it selects the last element of an array. Okay, use the pop function to remove the last item from my array and assign the pop of value to a new variable removed from my array. Last item from my array, and assign the popped. So const removed, এখানে assign করব হচ্ছে my array dot pop. Okay, I think that's it. Pop always removes the last element from an array. Pop always removes the last element from an array. What if you want to remove the first? That's where dot shift comes in. It works just like dot pop, but except it removes the first element instead of last. So pop removes the, okay, so pop dot pop removes the last element from an array, and dot shift removes the first element So use the dot shift function to remove the first item from my array. Use dot shift function to remove the first item from my array and assign the shift of value to a new variable removed from my array. এখানে আমি my array first valueটা সরাবো, so I have to use dot shift element which will remove the first item from the array. Okay, so এখানে now only you can shift elements of the beginning of an array. You can also unshift elements of the beginning of an array, elements in front of the array. Unshift works exactly like dot push, but instead of adding the element at the end of an array, the unshift adds the element at the beginning of array. Unshift adds so unshift adds element in the beginning, adds element at the beginning of the array, element at the beginning. Okay, so okay, so let's do like some kind of so shift, so console dot log here in my array to দেখতে চাই, so my array is like dog. What if I just give unshift? Like I want to add Johnny. This thing is added here. It's not in the so I'm making keyword also. So I have to add ball 35. I've done shift. So instead of this, I have to just add. I have to just add this, but unshift it and then paste it. That should be it. Okay. There should be at least 5 surveys in the list. So create a shopping list in the variable myList. The list should have a multi-dimensional array containing several subarrays. The first element in each subarray should contain a string with the name of the item. The second element should be a name representing the quantity. Okay. So first ready. So I have to create and many sub arrays. So first console.log my list, so I can see what's happening. So এখানে হচ্ছে honey হচ্ছে 220. Now I add barley. Now add juice. Okay. Now add milk. 100. Yes, so I have to add like 5 servers. Hmm. So you can also create a function called reusable function which prints a string. Oh, okay. Now I have to. Now it's the function time. It's the function time. Function. So I have to create function called reusable function. So function called a reusable function and which prints hello world, right? So it'll be the hello world. Wait. Okay, sorry. Function, then it will print also console.log hi world. Hi world. Call the function. I have to call the function. So just for calling, I think I have to just write the name of the function. That's it. Function, and then see what is. Okay, so function test fun param1 param2 console log param1 param2. So then we can call test fun like this, test fun hello world. We have passed two string arguments hello and world. Inside this function param1 we equal the string hello and param2 big. Okay, understand. Create a function called with args with args that accepts two arguments. So two arguments. So one and we'll check two arguments. Next arguments and output their sum to the dev console. Okay, so console শুধু console কি show করবে যে 1 plus 2 their sums, right? So 1 plus 2. Call the function, so I have to call the function which is function terms and I have to give a value like 2 and 3 5. Okay, so we can pass the values into a function with arguments. You can use a return statement to return a value back out of a function. You can use a return statement to send a value back out of a function. So function plus 3 num return num plus 3 const answer plus 3 function আমি কল করছি ভেরিয়েবল মাধ্যমে কল করছি সো plus 3 5. So return হবে okay, so return actually works like that. Okay, you can also use return statement to send a value back out of function. Okay, plus 3 takes an argument for num and returns a value equal to num plus 3. Okay, create a function called times 5 and the function create করতে হবে times 5 multiplies it that accepts one argument. So একটা argument দিতে হবে, like let's say one argument, and it will return value like 1 multiplies by 5. So if I test it like console log, or I can say like, or I can test it like the variable দিলাম, ভেরিয়েবলটা নাম হচ্ছে 2, it will call the function times 5 call করবে, so if I like console log, if I need to see like 2, just say okay, and I think that yes. Global scope and function. Variables that are declared without let or const keywords automatically created in the global scope. This can create unintended consequences elsewhere in your code, or when running a function. Again, you should always declare your variable with let or const. Using let or const, declare a variable named myGlobal. Outside any function, initialize it with value 10. Using let or const, declare a global variable named myGlobal outside any function. So I have to declare a value, I mean like a variable called myGlobal. I have to declare a variable called myGlobal because there's no function. So okay, and outside of any function, initialize it with value of 10. So it has a value of 10. Inside the fun one, assign 5 to oops global. Assign 5 to oops global. So oops global. Okay, so oops global is basically a global function because I have not declared it with any other let or const. Okay, so I have declared it inside a function, inside that function, so it's not local scope and function, global scope and local scope. Okay, so local scope and global scope. So global scope is basically let or const not needed. For example, if I call a function named myArray, inside that function if I call it global scope and assign it value like 10, something like that, then it's a global scope is a global scope. It means it doesn't require let or const to uh, let or const to call it call the variable. And there is a local scope. So variables which are declared within a function as well as the function parameters have local scope. That means that they are only visible within that function, which means they're only visible within that function. Here's a function my test with a local variable called loc log const. Okay, understand. My test console log loc. The my test function will call will function call will display the string foo in the console. The console log loc outside the my test function will throw an error because loc is not defined outside the function. Okay, so that's called local scope. Okay, so local scope is basically a function, basically a variable is called within a function that is unusable outside that function only. So okay, local scope. Okay, so the console will still display reference where my var is not defined. The editor has two console log to help you see what's happening. Check the console as you code to see how it changes. Declare local variable my var inside my local scope and run the tests. Declare variable. So local variable declare করতে হবে, so I have to declare it inside. So like let my var, it's a local variable, and let's say I have like given value 10 inside my local scope is 10. Okay, but it doesn't like it shows this because outside here it doesn't have it doesn't show the value of my var because my var is basically a local scope and it is called inside the function my scope, my local scope. So that's why it's a local scope. Okay. Global versus local scope in a function. So it is possible to have both local and global variables within the same name. When you do this, the local variable takes precedence over the global variable. In this example, const const somewhere equals head function my fun const somewhere equals head return somewhere. Okay, so this function my fun will return the string head because the local variable is present, and add local and variable to my outfit function. Local to my outfit. Oh, sorry. It should be like outerwear. Understanding undefined value returned from a function. A function can include the return statement, but it does not have to. In the case that the function does not have a return statement, when you call it, the function processes the inner code, but the return value is undefined. So let sum 0 function at sum num sum equals to Sum equals to sum plus num. So add sum finds function without a return statement. Function will change the global sum variable, but the return value of the function is undefined. Create a function called add5 without any arguments. This function adds 5 to the sum variable. Create a function add5 without any arguments. Function called add5. Okay, so I'm at a function add করতে হবে called function add5, and inside that function this function adds 5 to the sum. This function adds if you recall from our discussion about storing values with the assignment operator, everything to the right of the equal sign is resolved before the value is assigned. This means we can take the return value of a function and assign it to a variable. Assume we have defined a function sum which adds two numbers together. Assume we have defined this function sum which adds two numbers together, like our sum 5. Our sum equals to sum 5 or 12. So calling the sum function with argument 5 and 12, it produces a return value of 17. Okay, this return value is assigned to our sum variable. Call the process arg function with an argument of 7. Process arg, call the, okay, so I have to call, so process arg, so I have to call it as 7 and assign it a return value, assign it its return value to the variable processed. I mean, I've just called it. So if I see like console log, if I see like what process is showing, but assign its return value to the variable processed, and assign its return value to the variable processed. Okay, so process, I think it enables, right? So if I like console log query and see what's process, it's changed or not. Yes, it has changed. I think it enables, right? The process should have, sorry, processed. processed. Okay, I don't have to write let because process is already been called. So I think that should, yes, because process has already been called. So I've just write and okay. Hmm. Stand in line. Stand in line. In computer science, a queue is an abstract data structure where items are kept in order. New items can be added at the back of the queue, and all items are taken off from the front of the queue. Write a function next in line which takes an array. Write a function. Write a function next in line which takes an array and a number item and as arguments. Array and number item and arguments. Add the number to the end of the array. Add a number, then remove the first item, the first then remove the first element of the array. The next in line function should then return the element that was removed. Okay, add the number to the end of the array. Before 1 2 3. Add the number to the end of the array. So add a number to the end of an array. Oh, okay. So I have to add a number. Oh, okay. So I have to use like the previous arguments, which is called. So I have to add the number to the add the number to the end of the array. So add the number to the end of the array. Then removes the first. বুঝতেছি না, I have to check. Okay, push add element at the end. So array dot push item const remove dot array shift return removed. Push item at the end of push item at the end of so call shift method to get the first item and store it to in removed return removed. Example, next in line 2 1 runs. You don't actually need this variable removed. Okay. It's okay. So I can test it here also. Okay. Same stuff. So push to add the number at the end of the array. Add the number to the end of the array. Add the number to the end of the array. Okay, so add the number to the end of the array. Add a number. So array dot push dot item. Stores. So এখানে কি করছে ফার্স্ট air dot push item push the add element at the end. Push হচ্ছে add the number to the end of the array. Add the number to the end of the array. Add the number to the end of the array. So what does push do? It's new item. So dot push air dot push item. What does it do? And const removed air dot shift. Dot shift removes the first element of the dot shift. So return removed. So আমি যদি এখানে test array 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 and console log before plus json stringify test array console log next in line test array dot 6. So test array test arrayটা হচ্ছে আমার যে ভ্যারিয়েবল আর 6. সো আফটার কি হইতেছে লাস্টে ফার্স্টেরটা রিমুভ গেছে কজ air dot push দিছে air dot push item air dot push item air dot push item air dot push then item then it just adds acha air dot push an item so it just adds uh it just adds the air dot push দিলে it just adds the কি বলে element at the end. So আমি যদি এখানে রিটার্নে শুধু রিটার্নে শুধু so what is the local scope and what is the global scope? It could be important. So for example, local scope is basically within works within a function. আর হইতেছে for example if I call a function then it is a local scope. Okay, understandable. So এখানে যেটা করছে সেটা হচ্ছে air একটা global scope নিয়ে নিয়েছে যে air dot push item I mean it's not a global scope either, it's just it's a scope. It's not a variable, it's called scope. Okay, understandable. That's a really good example of scope. Like, so এখানে for this local scope, global scope এর একটা good example হইতে পারে, সেটা হইতেছে so function next in line ভিতরে আছে দুইটা, ভিতরে দুইটা কি বলে আর্গুমেন্ট আছে air আর item, সো এখানে air dot push item, সো এই এটার কারণে কি হচ্ছে পুশ করার কারণে add element at the end, so add element at the end, add element at the end, so add dot push দিলে add element at the end. So let air 1 2 3 4 5, তো এরপরে যদি before json stringify test air, before json stringify test air, then console log next in line test air, যদি understandable. It's a hard one, bro. It's a very hard one. It's actually really hard. Understanding Boolean values. So understanding Boolean values. So another data type is the Boolean. Booleans may also be the one of two values, true or false. Okay, Boolean is like true or false. Boolean is true or false. So they're basically little on or off switch, where true is on and false is off. These two states are mutually exclusive. Boolean values are never written with quotes. The string true and the string false are not Boolean and have no special meaning in JavaScript. Boolean. Modify the welcome Boolean function so that it returns true instead of false. If statement. Okay, if statement are used to make decisions in code. The keyword if tells JavaScript to execute the code in the curly braces So if statements are used to make decision in the code. The keyword if tells JavaScript to execute the code in the curly braces under certain conditions. Define in the parentheses. Under these conditions are known as Boolean condition. Boolean condition, and they may only be true or false. When the condition evaluates true, the program executes the statement inside the curly braces. Boolean condition evaluates false. The statement inside the curly braces will not be executed. If condition is true, the statement is executed. For example, function test my condition. Function test to test dynamic function declared with an argument the my condition. So if my condition is return true, otherwise it will return it was false. So test true, test false. Test true returns it was true. Okay, just false. Return it was false. When the test is called, the value of the true, if the statement with the value of true, if the statement value is my condition, to see if it's true or not. Since it is true, the function returns it was true. When the call test with the value of false, my condition is not true. The statement is the curly is executed. The is not executed, and the function returns it was false. Create an if statement inside the function. Return yes, that was true. So এটার ভিতরে একটা so if was that true to return sure yes, that is true. I mean it's a string, right? Otherwise it will return no, that was false, just like that. So that's Boolean, yes or true or false. That's called Boolean. There are many comparison operators in JavaScript. All of these operators return a value, a Boolean, true or false value. The most basic operator is the quality operator. So the most